Greetings creatives, and welcome to a very different kind of Flyingshapes tutorial, because this time we're not wearing a VR headset, we are working in desktop view. How do we do that? Well, let's start by clicking this neat pencil icon in the top right corner that says Edit Mode. And immediately we have several tabs available that we can access by simply hovering them, like the Material tab, the Stroke tab, the Layer tab, each of them with many possibilities, and on top of it, the Select tool, the Paint tool, and the Curve tool, each with lots of options we'll talk about in just a few minutes. By the way, we've already talked a lot about the Selection tool and shortkeys in our last tutorial, so just click on the top right corner or on the link in the description to get to that one, and for now, let's start with the Material tab. First up, it shows you all the materials in your scene, and when hovering over them, we'll see right away where any material is assigned to your model. Once we spot the one we want, we can click on it to bring up its parameters. From here, we can tweak and fine-tune everything to our heart's content. Alternatively, try holding Alt and left-clicking directly on the model. That'll select the hovered material instantly. Let's say we want to paint the air vent on the hood black. Just click the Painter tool or press the number 2 key on your keyboard. Let's move a little closer, hover over the surface we want, and click to assign the material to the model. Okay, let's go ahead and change those side windows a bit. We can delete the surface by hovering it and pressing Ctrl and left click, or simply pressing the Delete key. Next, hit that plus icon, which creates a new material based on the one that's currently selected. We'll take the glass material for this. Okay, and here's a new one. Let's change that to clay glass by using one of our handy material templates. And now we can place that material back to where we deleted the other one before. And so it all makes sense, also here and here. Now we can play with the color settings. Maybe adjust the smoothness a little, just to see how it affects the surface. Okay. Of course, we can also edit the stroke materials in the desktop view. For that, we can either hover to the Stroke tab, or again hold Alt and click on a curve to select its material. Here we can also create a new material, and let's make it a slightly different tone, and let's assign that to the front headlights. And for that final bit of flair, turn the emission up, watch it light up beautifully, dial it back down a bit. Okay, nice. Now let's open the Layer tab. To do so, simply move the mouse cursor to the right border and the tab will open. And here we have another plus icon to create a new layer. Below that are all the layers in your project. When you hover over one of them, two things happen. First, the layer's contents get highlighted. Second, a few icons appear that you may recognize from VR mode. Using the eye icon, you can toggle each layer's visibility, like so. And next, let's look at the mirror icon. This icon lets you turn mirroring on or off depending on your needs. And we also have a mirror icon up here that toggles the visibility of the mirror. If we click the icon with the 3 dots, 2 additional functions become available. First is the Delete Layer option, and the other one is the Assign to Layer function. Well, let's try that quickly. I'll create a new layer by clicking that plus icon on the top right, and once we have the layer, I'll double-click it to rename it. I'll select a specific part, the fuel cap, and assign it to the new layer. Boom. Done. And now, when I hover that layer, you can see that the fuel cap has its own layer. Nice and organized. Another neat function of the layer menu is that we can hold the Alt key and click on a layer to select its contents. By the way, simply double-clicking into empty space deselects everything. Next we have the lock icon. This freezes the layer so nothing inside it can be moved or changed by accident. Very helpful when working on complicated parts with many elements. And finally, this icon opens up the menu for C3D, the automatic surfacing of Flyingshapes. It works just like it does in VR mode. And if you want to learn more, there's a dedicated tutorial linked in the description below. One thing we'll also cover in another tutorial is the curve tool, because it's so powerful, it wouldn't make sense to just add it in here. So that concludes it for now with our overview of the Flyingshapes desktop view. Thanks for watching and stay creative.